What's up, guys? This is Tyler from Blasting Cat Gaming, and I was sitting here in GTA 5 customizing some cars, and I had the idea to kind of do like a car show or basically a garage tour. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull some cars out of my garage and just kind of show you guys them and maybe give a little bit of detail. I don't know too much about the cars other than I like the way they look, so I bought them, but I'll give as much detail as I can. So let's get started. So here we have, I believe it's pronounced the Canis Mesa. It's one of the mercenary group vehicles. I stole it off of them on a mission, but I believe now you can buy it ever since Heist came out. So I'm also gonna pull these cars out in pretty much the order that I like them in. So this would be, let's say, a 10. I don't use it that much. Number 1 being my best vehicle. So yeah, I just did the olive green because it's kind of like a military color almost, and it's a military vehicle. I lowered the suspension, I believe, just a little bit. Nothing too drastic, just so it doesn't look ridiculous. I love Jeeps, only when they're, jacked up and big tires and everything like that. So that's why I wanted this in the first place. But after I got it, I went to take it off-roading, climb Mount Chiliad and stuff like that. This thing hardly has any power at all. That's why I don't use it. I just don't want to, get rid of it because if I buy it, then I gotta call Pegasus to have it delivered every single time I want to use it. And that's just too much of a hassle, so I'm just gonna hang on to it so I don't have to get it later. But it's still cool to have. And next we have my chopper. I do love this bike a lot. I just don't use it that often because I have another one that I'm gonna show you. But yeah, I stole it from the Lost MC off of a mission I was doing. You can find this riding around in certain parts of the map. But yeah, so if you want one, you can find it. It's like because it's like a classic looking chopper. Pretty much kept the same paint job that the guy I stole it off of had on it, except for I added the back seat there and those little tassels hanging off the seat just because I thought they looked cool. I don't know, just added a vintage thing to the bike, and I like vintage motorcycles, so yeah, that's what I was going with here. There's not too much to explain about the bike. It's just a motorcycle. It goes fast, it handles great. There's just another thing I don't like about it, like probably the main reason I don't use it, which is going to sound silly, but in first person, I don't like how you can't really see the handlebars, so it's just kind of like, you see, unless you turn, it's just kind of like you're riding nothing. It's really weird. But yeah, I'll show you a different motorcycle that I like to use later. And up again, we have another chopper. This is called the Westernbagger. Now, the whole reason I wanted this motorcycle was because I watched a lot of Sons of Anarchy, and this is probably the closest thing to resembling Jax's bike, if you've seen the show, that I can find in this game. So that's pretty much the only reason I wanted it. It sounds great, it's fast, powerful, and it looks pretty cool in first person when you're riding. Yeah, like I said, or like I've done with every other bike, I've hardly customized it, just kept it black and chrome basically, just because I feel like that's what looks best on a motorcycle, at least in my opinion. So yeah, that is the Westernbagger. Coming up next, we have the popular, I think it's pronounced Vapid or Vapid Sand King. This is the 2-door version. You can also find the 4-door driving around out in the country area. So some of the things I've done to this, made it matte black, added that the bar onto the back there. I also lowered the suspension just because I think this truck is just way too big, especially in first person. You can hardly see over the hood when you're driving. It's pretty weird to drive, but yeah, kept it black with the black rims as well, off-road tires, and I just had that front bar there. Nothing, no real reason to the bar. It just looks cool, and I guess it kind of adds some sense of durability. Once again, this, I don't know, it doesn't seem like it has enough power for off-roading. A huge truck like this, I feel like should just be able to climb up the side of a mountain, but it really isn't that powerful. So that's one of the reasons it's higher up on the list, because I don't use it that often for off-roading. I mainly use my dirt bike that you're going to be see, I believe, next. So let's go ahead and keep on moving. Now we have another motorcycle, or a dirt bike. I got this about a day or two ago. It came out with the heist update, and like I said, I like old school bikes, and this is kind of like an old school dirt bike, so that's why I wanted it. I haven't customized anything on it at all, actually. I don't really plan doing too much to it because it looks pretty cool stock. Probably just gonna add on a different exhaust, but other than that, it's pretty much gonna stay stock. Yeah, it has a lot of power. It's really good with climbing. I've already taken it off-roading, and yeah, there's not much to be said about it. It's pretty reliable, pretty fast, and like I said, it's got some horsepower to it. So I I'm definitely gonna keep it. The only reason it's ranked higher up on the list is because I've only had it for a couple of days, so I haven't gotten a chance to really use it. But I'm sure it'll make its way up into the the lower spots for my most used cars. Coming up next, we have the Sanchez, probably one of the most popular or iconic vehicles in the GTA series. Just because it's been in pretty much every single one, if not every single one. So I made it yellow and white and black just because when I was younger, I had a dirt bike and it was with the same color scheme. And yeah, so I just wanted to go ahead and recreate that just because it was familiar and I like it for some reason. I guess it's because I had one. But yeah, I think I have just some engine upgrades, nothing too crazy on here. It's a Sanchez, so it's pretty reliable. It's good off-road, very fast. It's a lot of fun. Me and my friends will just go ride out in the mountains because they all have dirt bikes in the game too. We'll just go ride out in the mountains and just try to jump rocks and stuff like that. Stuff that you're supposed to do in GTA. Stuff that you're not supposed to do in real life, basically. Yeah, so that's what we do with this. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. And now we have my race car. I believe it's called the Dubashi Masaro or Masacro or something like that. This was recently released, and I think it was like a surprise update. Maybe it was for Christmas. Um, Now I know it looks great and everything, and it is really good. It's just that for the upgrades that I have available, the handling's not that great, the braking's not that great, acceleration's not that great, but the top speed is pretty good. It's one of my fastest cars. The reason it's, not one of my most used is mainly for all those reasons. So if I did more races, I think it would be a really great car. But I don't race a lot. But yeah, it's good. It's a good car. I definitely would buy it again. With the right upgrades, it could definitely be one of the best cars. But like I said, I don't race a lot, so I don't have those upgrades. But it is definitely a good car. And don't mind the red square there. That's the crew logo. Like as I'm looking in the Los Santos Customs menus, you can't even put the crew logo on this car. So I don't know why that's there, and it's like sideways to make it even worse. And it's just a random red square on the side that I can't get rid of. Coming up next, we have I think it's pronounced the Class Saber Turbo. I hardly know how to pronounce any of these car names just because they're so out there. But yeah, I love muscle cars. They're probably one of my favorite, genre of car. And yeah, this was originally modeled after the General Lee from the Dukes of Hazzard, so I had it orange with an American flag on top. Although they have a rebel flag on top, or, you know. But yeah, I recently switched it over to the giant engine block here. Made it all black. Kept the roll cage, as you probably saw on almost every single car I brought here. I always put a roll cage in them. I don't know if it actually increases the durability, but it looks cool. Yeah, just got, some smaller rims to keep it more muscle car looking. And I put the exhaust on the side just because it looks cool when you rev up and, it shoots the fire out. It's cool. This is one of my most used cars. I think I only have 2 cars left to show you guys, so this is probably third. It's very fast. The handling is great. It sounds great when you start it up, and I love to just, hold in R1 and keep it neutral and just rev up the engine just to hear it because it sounds so good. I do that with a lot of cars, as dumb as that sounds. But yeah, this is one of my favorite cars to use. Up next, we have the Benefactor Feltzer. This has been my #1 car for the longest time. It's probably like the first car I actually spent a lot of money on. I actually had to save up for this. Yeah, it sounds amazing. It's really fast, handles great. Um, as you saw, I had the neon underneath, which I do with most of my street cars. Um, it's funny because after I bought this, I was so poor, I can only afford to put the neon on the sides instead of like all the way around the car. But yeah, it was definitely worth all the saving up and all the missions I had to keep redoing just to make the money. But yeah, I keep it a dark blue. It actually changes a lot, so I shouldn't say keep, but right now it's a dark blue with black rims, nothing too fancy, with a body kit so it looks like it hugs the ground. And that's kind of how it feels when you drive it. It's really reliable, very fast, like I mentioned. It's definitely one of my favorite cars, and will always be. I'll never sell this car. And lastly, we have the Karen Kuruma. This came out with the heist update. It's the armored car that you get to use in like the first heist you do. Um, I love this car so much. It's that green color. I modeled that after the car in Too Fast, Too Furious that Brian uses, or Paul Walker. I believe his was called maybe it was I don't know if his was a Lancer or if it was like a Spider Evo or something like that. I'm pretty sure it was a Lancer. I can't remember exactly. But yeah, it has the same look, so I gave it that green color, or I think it's called a dew yellow. Yeah, so I have it that color. I dropped it down about as much as I have unlocked for the ride height. I have the black rims on there. Um, yeah, I have the green neon underneath just to make this dew yellow kind of seem green because it's not green, but yeah, the green neon makes it look more green in my opinion. I have the blue roll cage in there because I believe this car had blue decals on the side or decals depending on where you're from, and yeah, I you can't put those on the side of the car, so I just went ahead and did it on the roll cage because you can somewhat see that. Um, a lot of the wings in this game or spoilers look ridiculous, so I went with this one. It's a carbon fiber, as you can see there, and it's not too high, it doesn't stick out too far, so it doesn't look ridiculous. And yeah, this is by far my favorite car in the entire game. It's ridiculously fast, and as a matter of fact, I almost crashed it just trying to take it from there and then put it up there. I almost crashed it right into the wall because it's super fast. It handles really well, and I'm really glad they put this in the game because it's just an amazing car. So if you haven't bought this, I recommend you buy it. I'm assuming the armored version, because there is an armored version you can buy. I'm assuming that's gonna have the same specs, but yeah, I do have this slightly upgraded, not too much at all. It's pretty low tiered upgrade. But yeah, this is the best car I've ever owned in any GTA ever. Alright, so that about wraps up our car show or garage tour here. If you guys liked the video, please leave it a like and subscribe for more gaming videos. If you guys have any car suggestions that I didn't have, please leave them in the comments. I'd like to check out some new cars, especially with us doing heists now. I can actually afford new cars, so I'm not going to be stuck with the same cars I've been, using since PS3. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.